Hello again. So I feel like talking about something, and I was actually thinking about this a couple of days ago, and it's this thing about running out of food in the stores and running out of water. Our bodies are 70% water. The earth, supposedly, because, and I say supposedly because I believe we're in the virtual reality. I'll keep saying that. Now, most people say holographic world. I feel like it's a virtual reality because I always sensed it, and then I happened to meditate to a point where I popped out of this doggone computer-looking machine that's buried on the ground. That's at the top is shaped like a cross kind of thing. It's shaped like a cross, and this has grass growing over it, so it looked like it's been there a while. And that let me know we were in some kind of machine, but we still have a soul and consciousness and all that stuff. So all is not lost. It's not to be a Debbie Downer to say that. That's just what I believe. But with that being said, that lets you know that everything is created. Everything is created through this program, this type of, whether you want to call it holographic or computer program, it's being created. Everything that's going on, including the weather. The food that we eat, obviously, is not real, whether you're in a holographic world or a virtual reality. Either way it goes, the food that you eat is not real. What you're taking in is information. Because, your body can't be real. Okay? So you're taking in information. Okay? But with that being said, if the food that we eat is not really real anyway, how are we running out of it? Now, some people just believe everything is physical. That's fine with me because I'm not here to judge. We just don't have room to do it no matter where we are. There's no room to judge. So some people just think everything is physical and that's it because they can touch a counter and they feel it with their fingers and they feel it is real. So they say everything is physical. That's why I touch a counter. I feel it with my fingers too. That's because I'm using my five senses. And many of us have not risen too far above our five senses, or I'll say beyond, not above, but beyond our five senses. So we think the physical world is it. We know there's a spiritual world. We know there's all this other stuff out there. But a lot of people are spending more time in a physical type of reality than a spiritual reality because of daily life responsibilities. Whether you're single, whether you have children, whether you're married, or whatever you're doing, even if you are a minor, you still spend a lot of your time in school and homework and all these other after school activities. Either way it goes, you're spending a lot of your time in a physical type of reality, so it's more real to you than in all of us, than anything. Even though a lot of this stuff I realize, but it stays on my conscious mind at a conscious level because I'm not giving enough time to really digest it like I should, right? I'm not giving enough time to digest it because once it becomes digested, then I'm going to be living a life like I'm a real spirit being instead of just some physical being. Most of us are just living like we're some physical being, going to work every day or taking care of children or whatever we got to cook or whatever we got to do. Most of the time we're living our life as a physical person. But with that being said, this is why they can tell us that we run out of food. This is why they can tell us that we run out of water. This is why they can tell us that we ain't going to have nothing to eat and we need to stock up. Well, stock up on what if we're in an illusion in the first place? The physical reality is a type of illusion. Really, to be honest with you, the astral, ASTRAL, the astral world is an illusion altogether, okay? That it's an illusion. So whether you even get out of 5, 6 senses, get whatever you call it, 5th, 6th, 7th, all these dimensions, you're still going to be in an illusion, but it might be a little bit more pleasant than where we are right now, depending on where you go. I can't explain all the dimensions, okay? But you'll be in like a higher type of mind where you will be more, your perception of reality will have expanded where you can do a lot more and you won't be just limited to someone driving a car and eating food off a plate or however you eat it in your mouth. You won't have to go and try to cook it or buy it. You'll probably just know how to create it with a thought. So sometimes with those dimensions, to me, it's just a perception of reality. You're not going anywhere. It's a perception of reality. in this way you kind of expand your consciousness, you expand your mind. And that's just that's what I think, that's what I believe I learned. That's not to say that's what it is, but you're not necessarily going to a physical place. It's a different place in your mind where you expand your mind, your consciousness, and stuff like that. And you're not just limited to like just being some automaton and limited to the five senses where people can tell you that you're running out of food. Okay? Because when you're limited to five senses, people can tell you that you're running out of food and you believe it. Because our consciousness is low. When your consciousness is limited to an ego type of physical type of reality, then people can tell you that the grocery stores are going to run out of food and you will believe it. Because, and when I say you, as I always say, when I say you, I'm speaking in general, not just the person who's listening. You know, I'm talking about myself too. Because I haven't really mastered the science of manifesting food, even though I have seen people do it, and I've been in groups where people, they learn how to manifest food. And the food might not be in front of them, but they can feel it go down. Like they can taste, like if they want some orange juice, they've learned, they practice so much to manifest food where they can feel it going down, they can taste it, or stuff like that, and they can manifest food where they can feel full because they have gotten more into their light bodies. This is what was explained to me when I was learning from a particular person. You're getting more into your light bodies instead of being so dense where you can manifest food, you can feel full, and they can take this food off the doggone shelves all they want to, because to be truthfully, some stuff just tastes funny anyway. Okay, some stuff tastes like they put some chemical on it to preserve it for as long as possible. I'm telling you, ever since COVID, and then there was a shutdown when the first shutdown started in 2020, and when they first opened back up, I'm telling you, I don't know what chemical they put on this food, but it just seemed like it's not tasting right, especially the meat. And I know they told the farmers to get rid of their farm animals, so I don't know where they're getting this beef from. And when I do eat it, it don't taste right. It tastes like they putting some chemical on it. And in some salads too, like when I get some salads, it don't taste right. Now I can start tasting the chips sometimes. Like stuff don't taste right. So I'd rather manifest some food any day, probably learn how to do that and get it to my light body, rather than eat this stuff where it's obviously tasting kind of funny. Now when you go to some organic places, some home cooked places, they can taste a little better. Maybe especially organic, I don't know, but it's really kind of hard to get true organic in the United States of America anyway. Okay, because even when you think you're getting organic, you're really not sometimes. You might be getting 50%, you know. It's hard to really get that in the United States of America. But anyway, now I want to get to inner world and outer world. I know I've talked about that plenty of times, and I continue to work on that myself, so I don't teach nobody nothing about that because I continue to work on it myself. But this is what I want to say. Many of you guys understand that your inner world creates your outer world. And with that being said, what I notice is I see a lot of people, not necessarily people who's listening, because I don't know what people who's listening to me, I don't know what you guys do. But I'm just talking about people in general that I see online, mostly that I see online, or that I might know of, the people that I might know of. They know how to do a lot of black magic. I'm just going to keep it like that. It's 2022. It's no need to hold back on the fact that people do a lot of black magic. In 2022, it's no need in being shy on saying that. A lot of people practice black magic. Unfortunately, a lot of these people have practiced black magic to hurt other people. It's good that you want to practice it to get your money, or do whatever you need to do, get a man, or get a woman, whatever you want to do, get a job, get a car, get a house. I see all this stuff. I don't see them talking about this food in these grocery stores, though. What's the problem? Why are they not using their black magic to make sure, in their world, the food in the grocery stores stay stocked? Or do they know how to manifest food like this class I was in? Manifest food where you can just feel full. Or are they going to buy a bunch of stuff and stock up like any other regular old person whose mind is stuck on a phenomenal plane or the mundane world? Are they going to go and buy a bunch of stuff and stock up too? See, what I noticed is that a lot of people that's in the magic, black, white, whatever, I don't think they're very spiritual like that. Because for me, spiritual is not just working with a bunch of other spirits that you perceive to be outside yourself, because they really ain't outside of you. So spiritual is not just really working with a bunch of spirits that you perceive to be outside yourself. To me, it's getting to know you and getting to know all of your abilities beyond the physical. To me, that's spiritual. To be honest with you, the most spiritual you can get is to know your spirit, yourself, and to perfect yourself, and to have the most confidence in yourself, in your spirit, or in spirit, and in your abilities. Most of these people that's practicing all of this, and this is not an insult. I'm just saying what I noticed. Most people that do practice all these different things, a lot of times they're working with other entities. And the other entities might bring them something. But then they have to give something to these entities in return. That's not necessarily very spiritual. For me, it's not. Because now at a time like this, what can you do with COVID? What can you do with when these people decide they want to take all the water away? What can you do when they decide they want to cut all the lights off? What can you do when they decide when they want to cut the water off? What can you do then? What are your spirits going to do for you? You know, and the spirits might do a lot for them. I don't know. Because, I mean, it's good to deal with spirits. But what I'm saying, I just don't feel like you can't get no more spiritual than knowing yourself, though. Okay, and getting to know all of your abilities, which is a lot of work. It's a lot of work now, because even if you expand your consciousness, it's still going to take some work to expand it even more, because you're limitless. Okay, you're limitless. So if you expand your consciousness to the point where you don't even need to cook or go buy food and you can manifest it, that's just you expand your consciousness to that point. But it's still so much more to go, because there's no limits. There's no limit. Sky is not the limit. There is no limits. Okay, so there's so much more to go when you're able to do, even if you're able to fly, it's still so much more to go, because you're limitless. Okay, and when people say your inner world is creating your outer world, and people talk about the things that they go through because their inner world is creating their outer world. So what's going to happen when there's a lot of food shortages? And a lot of these people that's been saying that, is that something going on with their inner world? What's happening? And if your inner world is creating your outer world, then I don't understand how these powers that be, and I just call them that because I don't know who they are that's really doing this. Okay, I know who makes the announcements, but who's really behind it, I don't know. But if your inner world is creating your outer world, and you have control over your inner world, and people who really understand that what you see in your outer world is a result of what's in your inner world. People who truly understand that, I don't understand how you can run out of food in the grocery stores, because that's part of your inner world. That's part of your inner world. Now, I'm going to tell you why it's possible to run out of, when you can go to a grocery store and run out of food, because you can still be a part of a collective consciousness and that is stuck on a phenomenal physical plane. And so if they have it stuck in their mind with all this fear that everything's going to run out, then that probably can be something that's created, even if you learn how to manifest food and all this stuff for yourself. Now, that's how it can happen. But other than that, that's the unfortunate part about it, is that most people's minds are stuck on a phenomenal plane, that they actually believe the hype that they're running out of food, when food don't really exist anyway. To be honest with you, food don't exist. But most of us are so stuck in a physical reality because of responsibilities, we go out to eat instead of working on getting into our light bodies and manifesting food for ourselves, so we can really have some real food instead of going to buy some stuff that might not taste right, even if you get it from the store. You know, so most of us are kind of stuck on that phenomenal plane. And then when they decide to remove everything from the shelves, some people going to be screwed. And even if you decide to stock up, you don't know what they're planning next, because people have been saying on YouTube, stock up, stock up, stock up. Well, if these people are so tyrannical, these entities are so tyrannical, and they've been listening to folks on YouTube say stock up, then they're going to have another plan to ruin your life, because that's what they want to do. They want to ruin your life. So if people want to stock up on food and they already listen to all these YouTube videos to know the plan that a lot of people stocked up on food, they're going to come with something else to make sure your life is hell, because that's what they want to do. They want to ruin your life. But it's unfortunate that so many of us are so stuck on the phenomenal plane that we can actually believe that we'll run out of water or that we'll run out of food when we're actually in the holographic world, virtual reality, whatever you want to call it. Either way, food ain't real. The food that we eat is not real. What we take in is information. We're taking the information. If you believe we're in a holographic world, if you believe that we're in a virtual reality, either way it goes, you know that you got to know that your food that you eat ain't real no way. It's not really there. It's just the rule set that most of us are limited to, which is a physical rule set that makes us feel like all that stuff is real. Once we expand our consciousness, we'll see that it's so much more. And so they get to take all this food off the counter, off the shelves. They get to remove all the water. They get to cut off the lights. They get to do all this stuff because most people have a low consciousness. Their consciousness is not expanded beyond 5 senses. So they get to play these silly games like that and really make you feel like you ain't got no food when you can learn how to manifest it, because the food ain't there in the first place. And you know, back to the inner world creating your outer world, why can't most people just go in and create the inner world that they want? I've been hearing that so much on YouTube for so many years about creating your reality and your inner world and the universe inside you. But then you run out of food on the shelves. What happened to all this universe inside you? Why can't people come together and create the universe they want instead of letting these powers that be control everything? Then if you can control with your money in your house and everything else, why can't you control the food on them shelves? Or unless you're just going to learn how to manifest it. But so that's all I got to say. And this came to me because I was briefly listening to somebody talking about hard times ahead. And that's fine. This person is a Christian. I don't really expect much from Christians. And that's fine, because everybody have a different belief. So they believe that the suffering has to happen because, a Savior is going to come back and get them. That's fine with me. You got the right to believe whatever you want to, because if you were meant to believe something else, something happened with that will make you believe something else. So I don't care about what people believe, but I know a lot of people's minds are really stuck on that phenomenal plane. And because they believe it's biblical prophecy, nothing is being done about it besides they're going to stock up and think they're going to call themselves being prepared. But they're really not going to be prepared, because you can't be prepared if you don't know what these people are going to do next. If you don't know what your opponent is going to do next, if you really don't know what they're up to, you cannot truly be prepared. The only way to be prepared for me, in my opinion, is spiritual. Mastering your abilities to the utmost and becoming more spiritual than physical. To me, that's the best way to be prepared, because if you're stuck on the physical phenomenal plane and you're going against these entities that's playing these games, they're going to be smarter. Okay, just understand, they're going to be smarter, because they create this ego world, and when they're trying to take you to these verses, multi-metaverses, they are more, they perfected a little better. They perfect the matrix a little better. So I wouldn't just stay on a physical plane and go up against them like that and just call my, it's nothing wrong with stocking up, but I wouldn't just call myself stocking up and buying a bunch of gas and all that stuff and thinking I'm going to outsmart them, because you won't do it. They master this stuff. They are part of the creators of this stuff. Now, in a way, they're gods, okay? Anytime somebody can take some food off a shelf and you gotta go stock up in your house and hurry up and get everything that you possibly can because they're about to take it off the shelves. Anytime they do that, then they're gods. I mean, there's nothing else to call them but some gods. Because they got people going in a frenzy like that. They got people going crazy. I hope it ain't cut off it was a phone call. So just in case I got cut off, anytime somebody can take a bunch of food off a shelf and do all this stuff and cause these people to go into a frenzy, they literally are the god of those people. I mean, people can say some other god is their god, but these people that's creating this, the people that's creating this madness are the gods. And the reason why they are the gods is because most people are stuck on a phenomenal plane and they cannot outsmart these folks. The only way these people are going to outdo these folks is if they become more spiritual than physical. And this is what I got to do too. So I'm talking to myself. They got to become more spiritual than physical, and they got to master more of their abilities beyond the five senses. That's the only way I can see people defeating this. But trying to defeat them on a phenomenal plane, they're going to lose that fight because these people master the matrix way better. Okay, because they control the matrix in a way. So they master it because they control it. And the best way for people as a collective to win is to kind of stay out the matrix as much as they can. I mean, they got to work, but stay out that matrix as much as they can and get more spiritual. And that's the only way I can see them defeating these, because these entities pretty much can only control the physical ego world. Okay? And once people can get out of that five senses phenomenal plane, then these people can't control as much. But anyway, I'll talk later.